You become unstoppable when you decide to be. There comes a moment in every person's life when silence becomes unbearable. When mediocrity starts to taste like poison. When the excuses you've lived behind for years suddenly sound hollow. It's in that moment you meet yourself. Not the version you show to the world. Not the mask you wear to hide your fears. But the real you, the one who's been buried under doubt, laziness, and hesitation. And in that moment you have a choice. To keep living as the shadow of your potential, or to rise, fully, completely, and ruthlessly committed to becoming unstoppable. You see, greatness is not gifted. It's forged in decision. The moment you decide that you will not settle, everything begins to shift. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But the world forgets the part that matters most. Belief is a decision. Faith in yourself doesn't appear magically. You build it brick by brick every time you act in spite of fear. The unstoppable don't wait for motivation. They create momentum. They don't wait for the right time. They make the time right. They don't seek permission. They declare intention. The world bends to the will of those who refuse to bend to it. Edison didn't wait for inspiration. He burned through 1,000 failures until light itself surrendered. Ford didn't ask for validation. He imagined a car for the average man when the world still worshipped the horse. Carnegie didn't fear giants. He learned to build steel taller than their doubts. And Lincoln, born in a log cabin with no money, no privilege, no advantage, refused to let circumstance define destiny. They were unstoppable because they decided to be. You can read every book, attend every seminar, follow every guru. But until you make that decision within yourself, nothing changes. There is no secret formula. There is only this. The day you decide to stop being average is the day you start becoming great. Most people never decide. They talk about their dreams as if someone else is responsible for them. They treat their potential like a hobby, their goals like a wish. They wait for the perfect alignment of stars that never comes. But life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards commitment. When you decide, truly decide, the universe reorganizes itself around your purpose. Doors open. Energy flows. The right people appear. Not because of luck, but because your frequency changes. You begin to see opportunity where you once saw problems. You begin to feel power where you once felt fear. You begin to move like someone who knows who they are and where they're going. And that's when you become dangerous, not to others, but to your own weakness. You start killing every excuse that once owned you. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop entertaining self-doubt. You stop waiting for a miracle and become the miracle. Discipline replaces distraction. Faith replaces fear. Action replaces anxiety. And suddenly you look around, and the world looks different because you are different. Every morning becomes a battlefield of decision. You wake up not asking, "Can I?" but saying, "I will." You stop saying, "One day," and start saying, "Day one." You stop chasing comfort because you understand, comfort is the enemy of growth. The unstoppable don't seek ease, they seek evolution. They understand that every great destiny demands a price. The pain of persistence, the sacrifice of excuses, the courage to keep going when the world doesn't clap. Listen, every legend was once unknown. Every hero was once invisible. The difference between them and the rest of the world wasn't talent. It wasn't luck. It was decision. The decision to stay up when others sleep. The decision to learn when others quit. The decision to move forward when the crowd runs backward. The decision to believe in a dream no one else can see. That decision is the birth of greatness. There's a fire that ignites inside you the moment you say, "I'm done living small." It's not arrogance, it's awareness. You finally realize that your potential isn't a fantasy. It's your responsibility. You were not born to crawl. You were not born to settle. You were born to rise, to lead, to conquer, to build something that outlives you. And it all begins the second you decide, "I will no longer betray my own potential." Because here's the truth, no enemy outside you can defeat the enemy inside you once you make that decision. Doubt loses its voice. Fear loses its grip. Failure becomes fuel. You become the kind of person who doesn't need motivation, you embody it. You don't chase opportunity, you create it. You don't dream of a better life, you build it one disciplined day at a time. You become unstoppable. Because the truth is, once you decide, life starts testing that decision. It will not hand you success wrapped in gold. It will throw you storms, delays, losses, heartbreaks. Not to break you, but to build the strength you'll need to carry the life you're asking for. Every obstacle is an examination of your will. Every failure asks you one question: do you still mean it? The world is not against you. It's simply checking if you're serious. Understand this. Success doesn't come to those who wish, it comes to those who prove. Prove it with your habits. Prove it with your consistency. Prove it with your hunger when nobody is watching. When you fail, and you will, remember this: failure is not the opposite of success. It's the initiation fee. No one ever achieved greatness without first paying that price. Edison failed thousands of times not because he was unlucky, but because he understood that each failure was removing one wrong path from the map of his destiny. That's the mindset of the unstoppable. They don't see obstacles as punishment. They see them as preparation. They don't pray for easy days, they ask for stronger backs. They know that the only way to master life is to face it, again and again, until fear gives up. When you make a true decision, you stop negotiating with your limitations. You stop giving power to fear, because you understand, fear is not real. It's a story written by your comfort zone. And every time you act against it, that story loses power. That's why the greats are fearless, not because they feel no fear, but because they move despite it. Discipline is their armor. Vision is their weapon. Faith is their fuel. They understand that the mind, once mastered, is the most dangerous force on earth. Napoleon Hill said, "You are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul." But how many people actually live like it? Most people drift. They float through life like leaves in the wind. No direction, no intention, waiting for someone else to rescue them from their own inaction. And when they fail, they blame circumstances, they blame luck, they blame fate, anything but the mirror. But not you, not anymore. The moment you decide to be unstoppable, you take full ownership of everything. You stop saying, "I can't," and start asking, "How can I?" You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them with your bare hands. You stop envying others and start outworking them. You realize that wealth, success, mastery, they all respond to the same law, the law of earned power. The more you discipline your mind, the more the world bends in your favor. The more you strengthen your habits, the less you depend on luck. The more you lead yourself, the more you attract others who are ready to build with you. Every empire begins in the silence of one mind that refused to quit. One person who said, "I don't know how yet, but I will." That decision is what creates destiny. You see, decision is energy. It changes how you walk, how you speak, how you think. It makes you magnetic because people feel conviction. They can sense when someone has burned the bridge behind them and committed fully to the path ahead. The world bows to that kind of energy. That's why when you truly decide, the world starts to rearrange itself. New ideas come. New people show up. Coincidences line up like stepping stones. And the more you move, the clearer the path becomes. That's the paradox of success. Clarity doesn't come before you move. It comes because you move. The first step opens the second. The second reveals the third. And by the time you've taken 10 steps in faith, the world looks completely different. But most people never take that first step. They want guarantees before they begin. They want certainty before they believe. They want to see the entire staircase before they climb. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith demands that you move while you're afraid, that you act while you're uncertain, that you trust the vision even when the path is invisible. And the moment you do, life opens up in ways logic could never predict. Understand, belief is not some mystical force. It's a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the stronger it gets, the more unstoppable you become. You stop chasing miracles because you realize you are one. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying, "Try me." You stop wishing life were easier and start praying to become better. Every setback, Every rejection, every failure becomes sacred fuel. You start to crave challenge because challenge means growth. And that's when you cross the invisible line between the ordinary and the extraordinary. You've met people like that, you can feel it in their presence. Their energy is unshakable. Their eyes carry quiet conviction. Their words cut through noise like lightning through clouds, because they've decided who they are. And when you decide who you are, the world no longer decides for you. When you decide who you are, the noise of the world fades. The opinions, the judgments, the doubts, they lose their grip. Because when your vision burns brighter than their disbelief, no one can dim it. The unstoppable do not move to impress. They move to express. They are not chasing applause. They are chasing alignment. Their worth is not defined by who claps for them, but by the work they are becoming. That's why they win in silence. They understand that the seed doesn't brag while it's underground. It's busy taking root. And when it finally breaks the surface, it doesn't apologize for the sunlight it now owns. Your purpose, too, must take root in silence. You must protect it from the noise, nurture it with discipline, water it with belief, and shield it from the weeds of distraction. Because the moment you lose focus, the weeds of mediocrity start to grow again. Every dream requires protection. Every vision demands guardianship. Every purpose needs your loyalty long before it earns your reward. There will be days when you feel invisible. There will be days when you feel invisible. Days when you wonder if the effort is worth it. Days when it seems like nobody sees you, nobody claps for you, nobody cares. But remember, every legend was once unseen. Every hero walked through seasons of silence before the world heard their name. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's not delusion, that's spiritual armor. It's the mindset of someone who knows that defeat only exists for those who stop trying. You become unstoppable when you decide that failure is information, not identification. You are not your mistakes. You are the lesson they've taught you. And if you learn fast, you rise fast. This is how destiny unfolds. Not in sudden leaps, but in quiet repetitions. In the daily grind. In the unseen discipline of doing what others skip. In showing up when you're tired, when you're uncertain, when the results are not immediate. That's the secret rhythm of greatness. It's not glamorous. It's not comfortable. But it's powerful because it's consistent. Most people chase motivation. The unstoppable chase mastery. Because they understand that consistency will always beat intensity. It's not what you do once. It's what you do daily. Discipline is the purest form of self-love. When you discipline yourself, you are telling your future, "You matter to me." Every sacrifice becomes a statement of faith. Every workout, every late-night study, every extra call, every hour of focus. It all compounds. That's the law of compounding discipline. Do it long enough and it looks like magic, but it's not. It's mathematics. One habit stacked on another until the impossible becomes inevitable. That's how wealth is built. That's how mastery is earned. That's how empires rise. You see, most people want the reward without the repetition. They want the outcome without the grind. They want success to feel exciting, not exhausting. But success belongs to those who embrace the boredom of excellence. Look at every great achiever in history, Carnegie, Ford, Disney, Jobs. They were all pulled by a vision larger than themselves. They lived for something beyond comfort. They built not for applause, but for legacy. And you have that same potential burning inside you. It's waiting for the day you stop doubting and start deciding. The day you stop wishing and start working. The day you stop trying to look ready and start becoming ready. That's the moment you transform. That's the moment you stop existing and start creating. That's the moment your purpose meets power, and you become unstoppable. Because once you truly align your vision with your daily actions, something supernatural begins to happen. Your energy changes. Your pace changes. Your words carry weight. Your presence commands attention. You stop chasing validation because your results start speaking for you. You begin to move differently, walk differently, think differently, because you know where you're going, and more importantly, you know why. And the world moves aside for a person who knows where they're going.